we also need to understand something called harmonic motion. So harmonic motion is going to be the sort of how each of these, like each of these notes are interacting with each other. I guess the rate of motion between each note. So we have okay, let's say we've got this right here. Okay, now see how the rate of motion is the same? The bottom note is moving by step, by step, by step. The top note is moving by step, by step, by step. So melodically, as we're looking at this, we see that the rate of motion is the same. Okay, this is a third. This is an interval of 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 a third. Okay, we call this type of harmonic motion parallel motion, because everything is moving at the same rate. They're all thirds. They're all moving at the same rate. Does that make sense? Okay, and the next type of motion that we're going to talk about is when we have so we're going to keep the same bottom part, but we're going to adjust the top note to where they're not moving at the same rate. So the bottom part right here is moving by step, by step, by step. The top part, we leap up a third here, we leap up a fourth here, and we leap up a third. So they're not moving at the same rate. We have a third here, we have a fourth here, we have a sixth here, and then we have a seventh here. So they're moving at different rates, but they're moving in the same direction. So what we're going to call this is similar motion, because they're moving in the same direction but at different rates. So you see how parallel motion, everything's moving at the same rate. We have all the same types of intervals. And then in similar motion, we're moving in the same direction but not at the same rate. The top notes are all leaping and the bottom notes are all stepping. Okay? Next is going to be where the bottom notes, or it could be the top notes, stay the same. Okay, and the other voice is moving. Okay, so all these C's are staying the same, and the top note is moving up by step. Doesn't have to move by step. It can move up or down or whatever. We can move it this way. We can move way up here. We can move down here. It doesn't matter as long as one note is staying the same and the other note is moving. We call this oblique motion. And finally, the last type of motion is where we have the voices are moving in the opposite direction. Okay, they can move out like this, like these guys are doing, or they can move inward too. Move to a unison here. Okay, so this is all what we call contrary motion. Now in contrary motion, the notes are moving away from each other, okay? Or they're moving away from each other towards each other, but they're moving in different directions. This note goes up, this note goes down, this note goes up, this note goes down, this note goes down, this note goes up. So this is contrary motion. Contrary motion is what we want. It's the preferred type of motion for harmony. It's the most interesting. It's the most favored for contrapuntal movement. It sounds the best. Oblique motion is still pretty good. It's like second best. It's interesting to listen to. It sounds good. It's fun. Okay, similar motion, not so much. We kind of want to avoid similar motion as much as possible. It can get us into some voice leading issues. Parallel motion is just flat out boring. So try to use as much contrary motion, oblique motion as you can. Makes it interesting, makes it fun to listen to. Parallel motion and similar motion, We can use some parallel motion, we can use some similar motion. We just don't want to use it very much. We want to use it sparingly. It just doesn't make it as interesting.